Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. We could be. We might be looking around. I believe we are. I think so, folks. We are live here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like an Eddie Bravo. We are your home for all things punchy kicky, and boy, have we got some shit talking to do for you folks this fine evening. So, before we get too deep into it here, I do want to go around real quick and thank these fine folks for coming along and taking part in the shenanigans with me here. I don't know if we can still technically do it, but I'm going to call him the new kid because technically he's on a new setup that he had to redo today because he couldn't be on the Joe Luminaries last night. How you doing, new guy?
Apparently that new setup ain't worth a damn. That's what happens when you take apart your red dildo and try to turn it into a mic.
Right now, I'm glad he wasn't on Joe Luminaries with me last night. I had enough problems by myself. Shit.
Hold up.
There we go.
There we go.
Hey.
I had to go back through and fuck with all of the audio and video settings because for some reason everything got defaulted and I thought my computer shit the bed. And apparently it was still like that. Okay. I'm doing better now. I think it was between my mic and mixer and stuff like that I got that just fucked everything up. I had to figure it out. But I'm here. I got everything figured out. So.
Kids these days. Oh, good times. Gonna be a good one this evening, folks. I can feel it. And then across from the new guy himself, we have got the freshest guest a man could possibly ask for. Mr. Fresho 3, how you doing this evening, sir?
Doing pretty good. At least I'm not the interim new guy. So.
There you go.
It's actually a surprisingly good card. Surprisingly good card this week.
Yeah, it really is.
For kind of a cobbled together last minute, it came together quite nicely.
Yeah, for a patchwork put together card kind of on the fly, it did turn out pretty nice. I'm kind of excited to get into this one a little bit.
Yep.
And then, as is the case more often than not, across the octagon from myself, my Wednesday night homeboy, my combat shit-talking compatriot, the one and only Golf T Vapes. How you doing this evening, sir?
Doing fantastic. Ready to talk some shit. It is a little bit cobbled together. As Fresh said, it's a pretty good card for what it is, considering it's that kind of filler between now and 252.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of that Band-Aid between what we just had and what they're teasing us is coming up, so I'm pretty happy with the way that it all shook loose. So, before we get into it here, as been told to me by folks much smarter than myself, I would like to let you folks know, if you enjoy what we do here, if you participate in the particular brand of shenaniganry we enjoy around these parts, we are available in pretty much every social media platform, however you would like to consume us. We are available in video form, obviously on YouTube. We are also, if those Instagram influencer level faces are just too damn distracting for you, fret not, mon ami, we've got you covered there as well. Anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. We have the all audio format of the show available for you a week behind the live show, so you get a chance to kind of catch up with the library. We're on Facebook, I'm No Joe. We're on Instagram, I'm No Joe. If you want to support what we do around here, patreon.com/I'm No Joe. But that being said, let's dive into some of the interestingness that is this weekend's coming up shenaniganry. One quick, where'd my card go? Here we go. One quick caveat to this weekend's breakdown. We couldn't actually find it yesterday. I was able to find it this afternoon. We do have the conclusive results for the highly anticipated Cody Henderson versus Jorge Masvidal ACL World Championships grudge match event from yesterday evening. Live from South Carolina, Jorge Masvidal put his badass status on the line in a 1v1 grudge match against the World Cornhole Championship title holder Cody Henderson in a first to 21 match, as they often do, spotting Jorge 15 points and stating confidently he would not only win, but he would win before Jorge would put a single point on the board and do it in 3 rounds or less. Well, despite Jorge putting up a very valiant effort, the Vegas 9-1 odds on him not scoring a point would have got you exactly what you presumed it would have. He did not put a single fucking point on the board. It did take Cody Henderson exactly 3 rounds, and he actually put 22 on the board and whiffed one on purpose, fucking with Jorge, just to, give him a little sporting chance. It actually was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Jorge did put some interesting shots up, but you can tell that he was there to have fun, and Cody Henderson was just there to keep his ego in check a little bit. But good times were had all around. ESPN, the Ocho, it's still a thing. Thank God we get interesting stuff like that. So that out of the way. Now we can actually get into the fun from this weekend. So for those of you who are unaware, we actually do have 2 events coming up this weekend. Not only do we have this interesting hobbled patchwork that has become our next UFC Apex card, we also tomorrow evening have Bellator 243 back in action with a couple of very interesting matches that have kind of flown under the radar for the most part. So before we get into the UFC stuff, I do want to take just a minute here and talk real quick about the Bellator card that is coming up, because there are some fucking gems that have flown under most folks' radar, and I want to give them a little bit of a shout out here. So let me catch a drink real quick. That devil's lettuce is parching. So the first one I want to talk about real quick on 243, the prelims are legitimately better than the main card. The main card at 243, very nice. Very, very nice. But the prelims over there are actually even fucking better. One of the first ones I want to talk about, they are having a catchweight fight of Mike Hamill stepping in against the Hungarian monster, Adam Borics. Adam has been down there at Sanford MMA in Florida just putting in work, and that young man looks very fucking ready for all comers. And now they got him at a 250 catchweight. He gets to keep a little bit of that dinner fun on, as they say. Doesn't have to go all the way to 145, so I think that's going to be a very, very interesting match to watch opening up. Excuse me. The other one, I don't understand why this one's flying under the radar. Fresh and I actually talked about this a little bit on the earlier Joe Liminaries when we first found out it was happening. Sabah Hamasi coming out of the UFC, going over to Bellator, getting thrown right up against Bellator's own homegrown fighter, making a name for himself, Curtis Millender. That's going to be a fucking spectacular matchup, because Sabah Hamasi is fairly well-rounded, kind of master of none, jack of all trades situation. Curtis Millender is not that. Curtis Millender is absolutely 100% a wrestling monster who has made the crossover to MMA and started learning the other tricks of the trade. But man, is that motherfucker strong, and he has got drive and great chain wrestling. So a lot of folks think they're ready for that shit, and then when you get slammed for the 4th time and he picks you up and starts to look for the 5th, and you start looking at your coach like, where does this come from? That's the kind of shit Curtis Millender does. So that one's going to be absolutely exciting to see how that plays loose as well.
Yeah, I hope he likes getting driven into the fence.
Yeah, you're going to get thrown around, dude. You're gonna. He's going to take you for that ride quite a bit, I'm willing to bet.
I'm gonna get ragdolled a little bit.
Yeah. The other prelim fight that I can't believe has not gotten, like, legitimately as much publicity as the fucking main event on this show. Miles Jury stepping in, again, former UFC greatness coming over to Bellator, stepping in against one of the most fucking exciting prospects I have seen come through Bellator, Georgi Karakazian. This young man, I literally had it come up in my fucking memories the other day on Facebook. This kid has been impressing since he made his debut almost 2 fucking years ago. Every time this guy steps in the fucking octagon, it is a fucking fireworks show. And we know what Miles Jury is capable of, both in the octagon and in the squared circle when he did a little bit of bare knuckling as well. Miles is a true tested in fire bad motherfucker. And now we've got Georgie getting to step in there with him. I think this is going to be a beautiful test for both gentlemen to see how they're going to stand out in the Bellator circle. So, that being said, like I mentioned, the prelims are better than the main card over on Bellator this weekend. So I'm only going to talk about the co-main and the main event. Oh, shit, wrong button. Whoop. Hang on, I broke it. There we go. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Zoom disappeared and OBS freaked the fuck out for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that being said. Wait, did it come back? There's a delay. Hang on. Now I'm paranoid. There we go. Okay. Haha. Sorry. That being said, co-main event for Bellator 243. Very interesting matchup. Very, very interesting matchup. Kind of underrated on both sides a little bit, I feel. Matt Mitrione stepping back in there against one of the most audacious handlebar mustaches I have seen in a decade or so. Timothy Johnson, another former UFC fighter, making his shine over in Bellator. Timothy Johnson was basically one of those middle-of-the-roaders, never quite showed that championship potential, but still stood above soup can level. But obviously the UFC has plenty of that, so they let him go. Bellator snatched him right up because he's still young. He's still very vibrant in his career. Still absolutely has potential to grow and make something of himself. And then we've got Matt Mitrione, a virtual MMA staple for the last decade or so, who, for lack of a better phrase, has had a rocky road as of late. Looked good, didn't look good, had some great fights, couldn't deal with his mouthpiece, and just real kind of topsy-turvy career as of lately. Kind of really a stepping stone point, kind of shit or get off the pot moment for both of these guys, I feel, though. There's plenty of guys in Bellator these days as well, and like we've been talking about, Bellator's talent level is stepping up, so they don't need soup cans either. At this point, MVP crushed most of them, so you really gotta fucking get with her to get the fuck out of Dodge. I kind of think Mitrione's getting a little bit slept on because of the mouthpiece incident that he had. And to be fair, he got the shit beat out of him. But it was the first time he had ever lost his fucking mouthpiece in his career, and it happened 25 minutes before the fight. Shit happens to the best of us. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Exactly.
I think he is absolutely going to make 100% sure he is holding that mouthpiece like my precious from Lord of the Rings all the way to the fucking octagon this time. I think we get to see the regular Mitrione again, and that's going to be an interesting fight for Johnson, but I think he's got the edge still.
That's a pretty even fight. That could go either way pretty easily.
Yeah.
That's a good match. Good match. If I had to pick, I'd have to pick Matt. He's been around. He's got the experience edge. Crafty old bastards, man.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Right?
he does have the experience. However, if we're going off of mustaches alone, it's got to go to Timothy Johnson. That dude has a spectacular fucking mustache.
Yeah.
Like fucking straight Magnum PI status.
That handlebar that he rocks is pretty serious.
Are we turning into like Sugar Sean, the fresh woman ab meter, and now the TJ mustache like picks? Is that what this is turning into?
Well, for this kind of shit show, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when in Rome.
Because fucking Sugar Sean did his video of just her ass is too nice not to pick that, which was gold.
I mean, I've got my abs equation that I work with when it comes to ladies fights.
That's true, and actually, a very valid proof of that theory was actually put into place last weekend, and we were discussing it before the fight. During the weigh-ins, Jennifer Maya came in, and her abs had fucking abs. JoJo looked good, but when she showed up at the weigh-ins, Jennifer Maya's abs had fucking abs. That girl was fucking yoked, son. And then when we got to the fight, it was a very different story because Jennifer Maya went back to normal Jenny from the block looking old girl, and JoJo had them cuts walking down the fucking happy trail. And I was like, oh shit, does this negate it? No, it very much did not. So I applied that same logic this afternoon when I was watching the Bellator weigh-ins for 243. Jorge Masvidal's female protege, who was opening the card, Valerie Lareda, absolutely came in with abs on abs on abs. But the little girl, Tisha Painez, I think her name is, that she is fighting, who came in looking like a goddamn pit bull, had no abs. Team Lareda, instantly. Not to mention, she's looking like an absolute fucking snack. So that's Paige Van Zandt better watch her fucking ass, because Amanda Hebus and Valerie Lareda are coming for all of the attention. But abs on abs, and the theory has held true. So I have zero doubt in my mind that tomorrow evening we will be giggling as Valerie Lareda whips some fucking ass tomorrow night.
There you go. Somebody's sleeping.
Yeah.
Somebody's sleeping.
Yeah. But that will bring us to the main event of tomorrow's evening, the rematch. One of the few rematches left out there that people legitimately are still interested in the MMA world. Michael Chandler going back against Benson Henderson before both of them need a fucking walker.
Hendo.
This is about the tail end of a rematch being valuable. This is the equivalent of drinking your milk on the day it says Best Buy on. You are pushing your fucking edge right up there, but it's still doable. I think we are at that point where obviously both of these gentlemen are not in their prime anymore. Neither one of these folks are spring chickens, but neither one of them have reached that Chuck and Tito 3 status yet either. We've got that happy little gray area where they're still valid fighters, still putting up legitimate contention, but neither one of them realistically is keeping pace with the new breed of fighters that has come in and taken over MMA on all organizational platforms at this point. That being said, both of these guys have legitimately Hall of Fame caliber highlight reels on either side of the octagon. Both of these guys have shown unmeasurable flashes of fucking greatness, and at the same time both of them have eaten bags full of dick and fallen face first in front of the biggest fucking crowds as well. So this is one of those, it isn't really for status in the organization, this is one for the record books. This is one that will be the thumbs up in either one of their legacies, because I really don't think we've got an option to see Chandler Henson 3. This is about the end of the expiration date for this pairing, but it is, I think, a valid run back. I think at this point, the ninja kick days are done. The crazy flash kicks are done. I think at this point, Chandler has the edge. I think Henderson has just lost too much of a step, and I love Benny. He's been fucking great. For anyone who's been watching MMA for any amount of time, Benson Henderson is legitimately a household name in most casual cases. But I think he has just fallen off enough at this point. Chandler's going to put him to fucking sleep.
I tend to agree. I love Hendo, but yeah, this is Chandler's fight to lose. Like, if he steps into something silly, like, it might happen, but
Always
it's his
a
fight
chance.
to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's always a chance. There's always a chance that, especially with Hendo. Last thing to go is power. So yeah. Yeah, this is Chandler's fight to lose. This is Chandler's fight to lose. Hendo will always make a valiant effort of everything now, so
Yeah.
it will be a tougher fight than I think probably anybody gives it credit for. But
Yeah, Hendo's really one of the last with your shielder on it fucking dudes that are still banging around out there. There's still a couple, but I think he's one of the most active ones that are still out there because he absolutely is. You've got to fucking put him to sleep or he's going to kill you.
yeah, exactly.
I think it's going to be a hell of a fucking war, to
Yeah.
be quite honest, because both of them, they're in that same stretch of their career. I think they both lost a step. It's a matter of who's lost a step more, and we're going to find out who's lost more of a step come tomorrow night. What I would like to see happen is I would love to see this come up as like a fight of the year candidate, because I really think it has the potential for it between these two. Because to be honest, right now, I think they're going to be at about the same speed, and I think they're going to have about the same step lost. So I think it's going to look like two really fucking fantastic fighters because they're going to be moving at about the same pace. However, you put them up against somebody who is a little more fantastic, they're not going to look quite as good anymore. But I think the way that they have this set as a main event, this is a great fucking main event for that night. I really think so. I have a feeling for Bellator, it does have possibility of fight of the year on it.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck. I didn't even fucking notice that on Bellator's fucking card. I didn't even fucking realize it.
Yeah, this whole card really didn't get nearly as much publicity as I think it warrants because Bellator is basically trying to cram, like, for a lack of a better term, what the UFC has done in their last couple outings, where they try and cram 3 events in a week. Bellator's not going 3 in a week. They're going 3 in a row, 3 weeks in a row. Fucking event. They've got their own bubble set up at Mohegan Sun up there in Connecticut. The whole commission, the whole area is working with them. They legitimately have everything done properly up there. So Bellator's trying to bang out a bunch of events in a row here. And I think because they're doing them so quickly right up against UFC banging events out in a row like this, they're not really getting as much shine, which is one of the reasons I like to talk about shit like this, because we're not corporately fucking sponsored, so we get to talk about all the goddamn fights around here.
Right.
Get to talk about all the fun shit. But, that being said, we are now going to move back into the Uncle Fester side of the house, as it were. Back into the world of UFC for this weekend's Lewis versus Oleinik UFC Apex Fight Night ESPN 13 on another one of those fucking ridiculous names. Lewis versus Oleinik, okay? It's the Black Beast versus the Dad Body Constrictor. This one's going to be a fucking hell of a card, folks. Like we kind of said earlier, this one, along with last week's, both really almost completely fell the fuck apart in being put together. Last week's actually fell the fuck apart as it was unfolding. They lost 4 fucking fights in 24 hours. One of them during the broadcast fell out.
Yeah, like 2 minutes before it was supposed to happen.
As they were literally taking them to the green room to walk out, the fight got fucking dropped. Shit has been rough, to say the least, lately. On Backstreet Boys front, on just fighter health front, on fucking crazy injury front. It's been a weird one. So the fact that we've got as much of a card this week as we do is a nice thing. Last week's card was originally 14 fights, ended up being 7 total, pre and fucking main card. 7. Shit has been crazy lately, folks. So the fact that we've got a full card as of right now, I'm hoping we fucking keep it that way for the next 36 hours, because we're almost there already. They are not fucking around here. This will be 2 cards in a row. We are opening up with Fresh's favorite fights to make fucking sure you are paying attention. Little guys are on fucking display again. We've got a 35 and then a pair of 45ers opening this fucking fight to go crazy with. And for the most part, this whole card, with the exception of obviously the main event and then one of these prelim fights, are pretty much all guys 185 pounds and less. It's really a smaller guy's paradise on this card. It's a showcase for some of the smaller weight classes here. Perfect example here, the lightweight division getting a chance to show off a little bit after the featherweights and the bantamweights get their shine in a pair of prospects who are both making very big names for themselves very quickly. Gavin Tucker stepping in to face one of the newest KO fucking short notice shining fighters, Justin James, who made a very big kapow fucking welcome into the UFC. This is going to be basically prospect versus prospect battle. This is two guys who are fresh to the organization, both came in with a fucking fireball behind them. They're going to throw them right against each other. You don't get any fucking rest time in the UFC. You don't get fucking easy matches anymore. We're done fucking playing. Prospect versus prospect. I think it's going to be real fucking exciting. I like Gavin Tucker, but I think Justin James has showed us a little bit more elusiveness, and that fucking counter left of his, dude, I'm excited to see more of it.
I mean, this one's going to be a lot of fun. Justin James has showed that he's got some power in those fists. So I'm inclined to agree with you. I think because it's relatively short notice, they don't have a lot of time to look at each other's game. I think there's a better chance that Justin James is going to be able to catch him with some power. Generally, that's kind of how this sort of fight goes, because these two are just going to come out swinging, and it's going to be a blast. I think Justin James has a little bit more power behind what he's throwing, so I think he'll probably catch him. He could catch him in the first. He could catch him in the first if he's silly and he hasn't watched anything in the last like month and a half or so.
I'm inclined to agree with that as well. I feel like Justin's going to go after him real fucking quick, man.
Well, I think they're both going to go after each other, but I'm leaning Justin James, and it's not by a lot. I think this fight could be a lot of fun, and I think Gavin Tucker is certainly a really really nice prospect.
Yeah, this one could flip real quick. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I'll lean towards Justin James right now, not by a lot, but I'll lean towards him a little bit.
I think the most exciting thing about this is you're going to see two guys that are pretty rough around the edges, being as they're still pretty green. And we're going to see who's sharper than the other. I don't foresee a quick finisher. I really don't. To be honest, with how green both these guys are, I mean, there's the possibility of it because they're both green and wet behind the ears. But at the same time, I think we're going to see a good long 3-round battle out of these two. I mean, you got to figure they're going to have gas tanks, albeit short notice or not. The little guys always have gas tanks. It just comes with the territory. I mean, we're not going to see either one of them gas because they're not using a whole lot of oxygen in those tiny little fucking frames. I mean, it's definitely going to be something. One person is going to get propelled. The other one is going to sit stagnant. I'm not going to say either one of them is going to lose anything out of this because it is short notice. I mean, for both of them, technically that's a win. You're taking a fight on short notice that looks good on you, period. But one person out of this, whether it be James or Tucker, is going to end up getting a nice little boost up to possibly get that. I won't say a ranked fighter because this isn't going to get them a ranked fight, but they're going to get somebody who's a little bit more known of a prospect to where they'll get that next shot at possibly moving up towards the ranked end of things, especially taking it on short notice. That's good for both fighters.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to constantly like make myself sit back because this mic is fucking different than my old mic, so I'm constantly like telling myself to sit back. Yeah, I honestly think that regardless of who's winning, it's like TJ said, it's gonna look damn good on them because it's what third fight of them being in the UFC and taking a short notice, like stepping in. That's a good way to get your name out there and to get on Daddy Dana's good side. So regardless, like they're looking good. In the end of it, I honestly I mean, with their last performances and with watching them in their prior uh, companies, fucking Janes is a fucking savage.
Yeah, baby.
Like, you really can't say much, really, with the level of his opponent that he fought for his debut in the UFC. He fought Frank Camacho, which is a good fighter.
Yeah, he's not full soup can. He's not, obviously he's not fucking top 15, but he's also not soup can either.
He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
He's not somebody just to like, oh yeah, whatever. It's a fucking Frank Camacho. But the way that he put him out was fucking beautiful. If he can pull something like that off on Saturday, like let the kid come in for a takedown, because the kid that he's fighting he's pretty big in ground game world. And I mean, let him catch him when he's coming in for a takedown. Fucking rock his road real quick.
Yeah, it could get real interesting real fast in that fight for damn sure.
Yeah.
I do have to say, though, before I forget, between the leaning back and forth and the yeah, I'm starting to wonder if RJ stands for, like, Rain Man Joe Rogan. 256 head strikes. 256 head strikes.
Fuck you. No, like, I have to remind myself, because this has an internal gain setting on the bottom of the mic.
Gotcha.
So, like, I'm constantly like, oh yeah, my last one didn't. It was all based off the settings on my computer.
Gotcha. So, that being said, that will bring us to, I'm not going to say but one of because there are a couple here that are going to be, in my opinion, dark horse fights of the night. There are a couple of fights that they have slid into this card that just kind of flew right under the radar completely, and I'm telling you right fucking now, bet your ass they are going to be fucking exciting. This being one of them. Not only is this fight going to be exciting, this is one of the funnest names in the fucking UFC we have today. Nasrat Haqparast is fighting Alex Munoz. I fucking love Nasrat Haqparast. That dude is fucking awesome. That's a hell of a name, and that dude is a hell of a fighter. Iranian-born German fighter coming into the United States. This dude is a plethora of, oh shit, and then you see him fight. This motherfucker is like a scaled-down Kevin Gastelum. He really fucking is. He's got the ice cream cone shaped fucking physique to him. He ragdolls motherfuckers when he gets a hold of you and starts throwing you around. And if you give him a shot to leave that fucking long left across your chin, you're gonna feel it right fucking there. I'm telling you right now. Alex Munoz is a fairly decent looking prospect in the UFC, but Nasrat is quickly trying to tear the fuck up the ladder in that fucking division. And I think if he gets a quick fucking win or a good clean fucking win against Munoz here, it's going to be real hard not to give him a guy with a number after his fucking name for his next matchup. And I think he can do it. I think he's quick enough. I think he's got a good enough fight IQ, because you see him change fucking strategy in the moment a lot, which doesn't happen these days. I think Nasrat's got what it takes.
You know, I'm really surprised on the odds on this fight, because I like Alex Munoz too. But we're talking about Haqparast.
Yeah.
And the odds are, I mean, they're relatively even, but I mean, they're given, it's a minus 240.
Yeah, I think the odds makers, from what I was hearing and a couple of folks talking about it earlier today, basically the odds makers are assuming that Haqparast is going to come in and try and wrestle, and Munoz, being the gigantic no-neck having motherfucker that he is just going to fucking clobber him. I don't see it going down that way, man. I just can't see it that way.
Yeah, no, I don't see that how that works out. Because I've picked against Haqparast in the past, and he's made me fucking regret it. Pretty much any time I've thought about it. If this gets to the ground at all, Haqparast. He could push him into the fence and kind of point him out that way too. I really don't think that's his game. He does like to throw a little bit, so I could actually see Hawkross taking this like as a. You gonna stop him? No, I don't think he's gonna stop him. I think this one might go decision. And I'm going Hawkross. I mean, he like I said, he's made me regret it anytime I've thought ill towards him. And Munoz got some power. Munoz got some power, but he's dealing with a dude who's too dumb to quit. And like I think he'll probably land a couple of like really nice shots, and Hawkross is still gonna keep coming at him. And I think that might throw his game plan off. So now's Nasserat Hawkross.
I love it.
I'm muted. There we go. Fucking, I'm over here talking. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm muted. Yeah, I have to fall in line with you guys on this one because that's whoever the odds makers are on this are obviously losing their fucking minds. I mean,
Right?
has nobody gone back and watched what he's done in his previous fights? He's literally in the lightweight division. He's gonna have a number after his name pretty soon. Guaranteed.
Yep.
It's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. With just what we've seen out of him so far as prospect, it'll be sooner than everybody thinks. I think a good solid showing here, and he might get somebody in the top 15. Which, to be honest, he would deserve after this, as long as he puts on a good showing.
Yeah.
Now, if it's kind of a back and forth and he's not able to just dominate Alex Munoz, then at that point, maybe you do need another prospect fight. But I have a feeling his next fight's going to be in the top 15.
I think he'll really deserve it. Just see the showings that he's put on. It's been.
Granted,
That's right, Bonnet. Revolution.
the one downside to that is fucking Dana hates a fucking wrestler. God, does he?
Take a wrestler.
I mean, look at a lot of the really good wrestlers. It takes them forever to get up there, but then once they're there, they're stuck there, and he just doesn't like them. I mean, we'll see.
I mean, like I said, Hawkross has shown that he'll throw if the opportunity arises. He doesn't mind. So, I mean, his bread and butter is working people.
Oh yeah,
He doesn't mind. His debut fight was a knockout. I mean, even when he lost his last fight, he still looked good until he got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Munoz, it's his debut fight. So, like, what ESPN has been putting up of him looks pretty damn good. His I don't know what company he was fighting for prior, but he looked pretty damn good in there. But I don't know. Every time I see I see his name, I just want to say Nasrat. Nasrat. God, I need to like fucking get my life together.
Crossbred lost to Drew Dober. I mean, there's no shame in losing to Drew Dober.
yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah,
That dude's a knockout fucking king right now.
Yeah, no shit. No, Munoz is the latest to come up through the Contender Series.
Yeah.
So
Contender Series guy.
that's another reason I'm immediately skeptical. Like, I wish you luck, but I'm automatically fucking skeptical of everyone that comes up through the fucking Contender Series these days.
Yeah, because they've all done great in the Contender Series, but once they come in, they're fucking dog shit.
Yeah, for the most part, generally they either get it right away, like Dan Ige, like Super Sadiq, or they come in and they fucking flounder like Voldemort. And it happens more often than not that they end up fucking floundering because they throw a fucking party when a soup can beats a soup can, like he just crushed a legitimate world title holder, and you can't fucking do that because then you give these fucking new guys false fucking hope and a false sense of security and a false sense of their own ability, and they run into a dude who's been doing this for 10 years and it kicks the shit out of them. But, if that's how Dana wants to grind up the fucking newbies, hey, far be it from me to tell him and his fucking millions how to do his job.
Every once in a while you do find Danny Gay.
That's right. All I gotta say is, if this is an opportunity and not a job, Dana has made a lot of money off of a lot of people's opportunities.
Yep.
So, that being said, that will move us on to the next short notice, crazy fucking turnaround. Again, another dark horse fight coming on this weekend's card. Kevin Holland, who was actually one half of the fight that fell apart in the green room last weekend, welcoming for his debut on a 6-day short notice turnaround, Joaquin Buckley making his debut into the UFC against a Kevin Holland who has literally been stomping around the apex pissed off for a week now. Because as he was getting brought to the green room to walk out in his fight against Trevin Giles last weekend, Trevin Giles passed the fuck out in front of his coach, his corner, and the fucking commission, and they waved that fucking fight off. So Kevin Holland quite literally has been sitting at the apex for a week bitching and grumbling, and Dana got him a fucking short notice turnaround so he didn't have to go anywhere. He is going to welcome Joaquin Buckley into the UFC. I think this, much like several other fights on this particular card, where it is a somewhat established fighter, I use air quotes for those listening, welcoming a complete fucking brand new, wet behind the ears newbie. And I think it's going to be a bad night for the newbies. I think it's going to be, I don't know that Holland is just going to fucking ragdoll him, but I think with the aggression he's got built up, coming into a legitimate fall camp for a fucking Trevin Giles fight, now coming in against a fucking newbie, I think this newbie's going to have a bad fucking night at the office. I think Kevin Holland's going to make a statement.
So something that you neglected to mention about what's going on here, Joaquin Buckley just fought 8 days ago.
Yeah.
He won.
He did.
He won.
Absolutely. That's what I said. This is a short notice turnaround for him to get his fucking big shot.
And anytime, unless your name is Kazmat Chimaev,
there you go.
Your turnaround, if it's less than 10 days, I have a real hard time believing that you're going to be able to pull it off. I get it. You're yoked up dude. You've knocked a bunch of people out. I believe he's got a couple knockouts in his belt, as far as I'm aware of Joaquin Buckley, which is not a lot. But you're coming in against a guy who's been ready. It's a short notice fight. Kevin Holland's probably gonna take him down, probably work him like a motherfucker, and tap his ass out if I had to guess. Probably what goes on. Could be potential. This has potential to be a dark horse fight of the night though, just because of, like I said, what I'm aware of Joaquin Buckley. He's not someone to take lightly. So I'll take Kevin Holland all day though, because I think he's got the skills to work this one out. But this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. I have a feeling he's probably more than a little bit pissed off about having that shit happen. Look, not a lot you can do about it. Shit happens. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be any less angry about the shit. I mean, you were ready. Gaz was ready. You both made weight. I mean, fuck, at that point, you thought it was on until somebody decided to lock their knees while they were standing at attention and fucking hit the concrete.
Yeah, that's literally 5 minutes before you're supposed to dance.
Yeah. As you're supposed to be fucking walking out and getting yourself locked in. But, coming in
losing a paycheck like that to Kevin Holland, that's going to just irritate the piss out of him.
Oh, yeah. And don't get me wrong, Buckley, you got a fucking lot of nerve coming in on 8 days and saying, yeah, I'll fight. Dude, that earns you another fight in my book in the UFC period.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially after coming off of an 8-day turnaround time. I mean, in all actuality, You could have fought Holland last week.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. They tried to get a hold of Ed Herman because that was one of the other fights that fell apart last minute last week was Ed Herman versus Gerald Meerschaert. Meerschaert popped up with the Backstreet Boys the day before the fucking fight, and Ed Herman got pissed off and went home. So they were trying to call Ed Herman like, yo, you want to fight Kevin Holland tomorrow? And he wasn't even answering his fucking phone.
But he was tweeting about it. He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Ironic.
So, yeah, I would have. Yeah, I mean that would have been a hell of a brawl.
That would have been fun too. Yeah.
Hey, but yeah, this is a no-brainer for me. I think Kevin Holland takes it. No offense to Buckley, but taking Holland on short notice right now, not such a great idea.
Nope.
Old strategy, Cotton.
See how it pays off for him.
I mean, just with the quality of performance from Holland, a new guy coming in on a short turnaround, that's fucking bad, as is. Just with how Holland his last few fights have been looking like he's making some decent progression. There's no way that you're coming out with a W on an 8-day turnaround fighting Holland. There's no fucking way.
Not easily. You better have something fucking tricky up your damn sleeve.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested to see how it shakes loose though, because everybody's got a fucking chance. Every fight starts on his fucking feet. We'll see how it goes. Excuse me. That being said, that will bring us to both the premier prelim and my favorite fight on this whole fucking card. Again, another potential dark horse fight of the night. Even though they put it in the premier prelim spot, they really haven't given it any publicity whatsoever. And I think that is extremely disappointing all the way across the board. One of my favorite new up-and-comers in the division and one of my favorite veterans in the division are going to fucking clash heads. Laureano Stariopoli, another fucking spectacular name, coming in against Tim the Dirty Bird Means. This is going to be a fucking spectacular matchup. This is absolutely 100% a beautiful example of the new breed coming in against the old dogs. This is a guaranteed fucking test of if Tim Means can still hang equally as much as it is a test to see if Laureano's chin can catch fucking Dirty Bird elbows, because he's going to throw them. I promise you. He's going to fucking throw them elbows at your face. I like Stariopoli. He has got a lot of fucking potential. He shows a very, very well-rounded game. He's got great movement and footwork. But I find it virtually fucking impossible, at least for me, to root against the Dirty Bird. That motherfucker has been there, done that, seen it, and got the fucking Polaroid to show for it. That motherfucker is tested in fire, badass, and I can't root against him. I'm going Dirty Bird all fucking day. I'm thinking elbows and in the evening.
I think this is going to tell us how far into the back nine Tim Means really is.
Yeah.
He's been around. He's been in some fucking wars. I mean, how long's he been in the UFC for? Almost 15 years, I want to say.
I think about 15 fucking years, yeah.
That's just off the top of my head. I mean,
Let's see if I can find
don't get me wrong. For Staropoli, this is fucking a fantastic name to get on your belt if you can pull it off and avoid some of the nastiest fucking elbows in all of MMA history. Because Tim throws them a fucking lot. He's gonna push you up against the cage. He's gonna work elbows. That's his style. They don't call him the Dirty Bird for fucking nothing. I mean, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the new guy, but I still think Tim Means has a little fight left in that dog there, because I just don't think he's done yet. I think he's still got something to prove. I don't think he's going to make a run at a title shot anytime soon, but I think he's going to rack up a couple more wins before he decides to call it quits.
Tim Means made his UFC debut February 15th, 2012 on
Okay.
Fuel TV. That
I
should,
maybe-
tell,
I
that
remember
should
those
tell you
notes.
something. Fuel fucking TV.
That's probably why I thought he was so fucking around so goddamn long, because fuck, it's been a long time since we've even seen Fuel TV as a fucking station.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Shit. I'm starting to get old.
Well, I can say one thing about this fight. They're both going to throw a ton of shots at each other.
Yeah, this is gonna be a
These guys
strikers match.
Well, these guys love the volume. They love the volume. Staropoli, he reminds me of like a less technical Dominic Cruz, kind of, sort of.
I could see that. Yeah, I can see that comparison. Absolutely.
Dominic Cruz lands a far more accurate shot. But this kid does like to throw fists like that. Like, he loves to just have that insane pace where it's just shot after shot after shot out there. And yeah, I mean, if Tim wades through that, and I don't know that he's going to have a problem wading through it, just because Staropoli's not all that technical of a fighter yet.
Right.
Yeah, the bows make a difference. You'll get cut, you'll get bruised up all over the place. So I'm leaning with you guys. I'm saying the old man's probably still got at least this fight left in him.
Right.
So
Well, that, and for an old man, he's still got a granite fucking chin. That
He
dude
does.
has taken some power shots right to the face and walked the fuck through them without being phased.
yeah.
So
And I don't think he has to worry about Staropoli
not,
cracking that.
yeah, not with that kind of
granite
power.
drop.
No.
No, he doesn't have that kind of power. He just throws as many out there as he can and hopes for the best. So could be a lot of fun though. Could be a lot of fun. I think Staropoli might get a scarf on this one.
I agree.
Just with Tim Means, like, experience in a cage, his fight IQ, regardless if he's been through fucking hellacious wars, you kind of have to give him a little notch up, because he can pick Stropoli apart fucking move by move like a motherfucker. He could Gracie this shit and just okay, you're gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and then you're gonna be on the fucking ground. He's been fighting since 2012. He's got the fucking fight IQ, and he knows exactly how to put a game plan down and stick to a game plan. You can't come in, even how Stropoli has been performing. He's not going to be able to keep up with somebody like me.
I agree. And it's funny that you make the comparison, because I for whatever reason, every time I think about this fight, in the back of my mind, I'm seeing like an updated version of Cowboy Cerrone versus Rick Story. Like, Tim Means has that same, I feel, level of difference and experience comparatively, and a relatively similar skill set, that he could fucking piecemeal you out, lay you out with that fucking head kick, and then just put you down. It could be real fucking similar. I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So that will bring us into the main card, which is pretty much all really fun fights. Not necessarily the most divisionally impactful, I will say. These aren't going to shake up the rankings vigorously after Saturday night's outcome, but these are going to tell you a lot about the individual fighters depending on how these fights play out. And they're all going to be fun to watch further than that. We're opening the card with another one that I feel just didn't get as much press as it deserves, and absolutely has potential to be another dark horse, crazy fun fight of the fucking night. Benyel Dariush, who is a fucking world-class badass unto himself, taking on the up-and-comer Scotty Too Hottie Holtzman. This is just going to be a really, really fun fucking matchup. This is a pair of guys who are both very aggressive grapplers with real crisp striking. It's just a matter of experience difference again. Dariush has been doing this for fucking ever. Scotty Holtzman is relatively newer to the scene. But that being said, I feel stylistically they match up real fucking well, and neither one of them has any issue with a gas tank. So this is going to be fun from start to finish. I feel like this is going to be a real hardcore wrestling, grappling chess match going back and forth. But I think the vet has it here. I think the experience and the well-roundedness of Dariush is just going to shine just enough to keep Scotty Too Hottie at bay. But I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer at the rate he's climbing.
I'll jump in on this one. What I'm curious about is, since we have two wrestlers, will the two wrestler formula hold steady? In this one, I wouldn't mind because they're both actually pretty excellent strikers. And if it comes to striking, I have a question about how much is left in the jaw of old Dariush, because he's taken some hellacious shots.
Yeah, yeah.
And Scotty Too Hottie does have some power. He does have some power in those strikes. If it does actually go to the mat, I would certainly give it to Dariush. But if they stay on the feet and the wrestler versus wrestler formula holds true, Scotty Too Hottie's going to knock him the fuck out. That's just I don't see. That's the two ways this fight can go in my mind. I think if Dariush takes a really solid shot early in the fight, like his game plan is going to completely change, and he'll really start trying to press his wrestling advantage, and work the mat, put him up against the fence, hold him there, try and work him into positions. This has a potential to be a really fun fight. If it goes, I think if it goes too long, I think Scotty Too Hottie's got this. So that's my thought.
I have to give it to Neil Dariush, hands down on this one. I mean, Holtzman's shown some impressive things. However, he's been hot and cold. He hasn't had a good steady run of things. Whereas you look at the other side, Neil Dariush lately, he's been on a pretty good fucking tear. Yeah, he's taken a couple bad shots over his career now. Granted, albeit he's ranked, he's still fairly young into the UFC. Even though he's ranked, he's not a household name at this point, in my opinion. Whereas I really think he should be. I mean, his last 3 fights, win by knockout, and then 2 submissions prior to that. I mean, he's got a good fucking record, and he's put away some people that were looking like they were going to make title runs. However, he's also, what's the best way to put this? Not the most consistent in the way he fights. It seems like he changes from fight to fight on what's going to look good that week. Is it going to be his striking or is it going to be his wrestling? Because there's some of those fights that I've seen where we're going, what the fuck happened? You looked really great in that area in your last fight, and now all of a sudden it looks like dog shit.
Yeah, it almost seems
not that the
almost seems like his camp. That's
camp.
what I was thinking. It almost seems like there's a little bit of consistency problem in the camp from that. I agree.
And I'm thinking it has nothing to do with his opponents, because his opponents have all been about the same level. Unfortunately, even though he's been on a winning streak, he's not getting guys up in the top, which, to be honest, I think he should be fighting somebody a little better than Holtzman. No offense to Holtzman, but he's been a hot and cold fighter. He's either, I think, his longest win streak in the UFC so far is 2.
2, yeah.
So, I mean, he could come out and show those flashes of greatness we've seen out of Holtzman. But I think, as much as I hate to say it, Dariush is the more consistent fighter. So I think that's what's going to end up winning in this book. Do I think he's going to knock out Holtzman? No. If there's going to be a knockout the other way, I would think it would be the other way around, because I think, in my opinion, Holtzman has better knockout power. If anything, I think he'll submit Holtzman though.
Yeah, I can see that.
I have to lean more towards Fresh's thought process of, if it stays on the feet, I think it would probably be Holtzman, because he's better on his feet than he is on the ground. That's not saying that he's absolutely fucking spectacular on his feet, but the man's got some hands.
Mm-hmm.
But if it goes to the ground, Dariush is gonna just ragdoll him and absolutely fucking humiliate him. Because Dariush, his ability on a mat is fucking ridiculous.
I changed my pick.
I could understand if he did. I can understand if he did. No,
New guy.
this is gonna be a real fucking fun fight, I think. And
Yeah, it's gonna be. It'll be a good one.
I feel like it's another one of those that it just kind of flew under the radar because there's some other bigger name fights on this card. This just really didn't get as much shine as I feel it deserves. I think it's gonna be a fun matchup either way. Now, from there, that's gonna bring us to the not so fun matchup on the card, the fluffer filler, if you will, the NyQuil intermission in the actual excitement of the evening. Yana Kunitskaya versus Julia Stoliarenko. Basically, for lack of a better comparison, Yana Kunitskaya is the Russian dollar store version of Paige Van Zandt. Julia is the German Dollar General version of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Yana was literally brought into the UFC as cannon fodder for Cyborg at 145 pounds, which she did exactly what they brought her in for. She stood there, she went, huh! And then got the shit beat out of her in glorious fashion for the world to see. Hasn't really done a damn thing in the UFC since then. Julia, on the other hand, actually came in through The Ultimate Fighter, where she looked mediocre at best through the entire season, and then still somehow managed to pull a UFC contract out of that lackluster fucking performance, and much to no one's surprise, since then has been lackluster in the UFC since she's been a full contract member as well. I really don't give two flying fucks which one of these two ladies win, to such an extent that I honestly and genuinely hope we see the first ladies double KO, that they just crack each other and both fall the fuck out. First punch. No contest, no fight, just dink, over.
I can make this pick easy for everybody. I've done the ab math. Yana Kunitskaya has better abs than Stoliarenko.
Yep.
Julia Stoliarenko, who was actually out of the UFC for quite a while,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
And they just brought her back.
Brought her back on. They need more ladies.
Because she had a 5-rounder over in Invicta that she actually performed pretty well.
Looked good, yeah.
Yeah. But the ab math adds up. The ab math adds up on this one, gentlemen. So, yeah. Yana Kunitskaya, easy win. You
know what's really sad about this? Yana Kunitskaya should be a lot better than she is. I mean, she's sleeping with a fucking great heavyweight. I mean, look at Santos. That dude is a fucking animal, fighting with the fucking torn ACL and still throwing the fucking kick.
Yep. Yeah, he's a monster, man.
Light heavyweight, not heavyweight. My apologies. You guys know I was fucking going with this. Either way, that dude is a fucking animal. She has one of the best possible training partners you can have, and still mediocre at best. I don't get it.
Which is funny, because if you apply that exact formula to Pat Barry and Rose, Rose has looked better than she ever fucking has, working almost exclusively just with Pat because the Backstreet Boys has kept her and Trevor from working together that much. So by that same logic, Yana should be amazing.
And who knows? Maybe this will help her because of that.
I hope.
Maybe that's a green light of, hey, I've been fucking around with this other stupid camp. What the fuck am I doing? Let me just train with the old fucking ball and chain there and go that route. But I mean, I'm not even gonna get into Julia because it's not worth my time. She's the epitome of we need somebody to fill the division.
Literally.
Yeah, there's not a lot of bantamweights.
Yeah, they're ironically and I don't necessarily understand why. I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine last week. It doesn't really have an evident reason why, but for some reason, the UFC is really heavy on 115 and now 125 pound ladies, but they're really thin on 135 pound, and there's literally only 6 at 145 pounds. And Dana has said he will not make 155 pound division. But then you turn around and you look, Bellator has a thriving 145 pound, a thriving 135 pound, a thriving 125 pound. Invicta is going all the way down to atom weight at 105, which is actually what their debut fucking title fight this coming weekend will be, or next weekend will be, an atom weight title fight. Ryzen has got fucking ladies from 155 down to 125 with no shortage. PFL has a 155 pound, 145, 135, and 125 pound ladies division, all of which now are eligible for the $1 million prize at the end of their quote unquote season. It's almost like at this point, somehow the UFC is the only game in town who's running short on the bigger ladies. And that's kind of weird considering it's supposed to be, you know, the upper echelon where everyone wants to be.
I have this strange feeling that they're not willing to pay enough, and that's why they're having a hard time keeping them.
I can see that.
Also, the same reason they lost Cyborg. Weird. Although Cyborg...
Video editing?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, she did cut off her nose to spite her face, so...
Yeah, that was stupid.
Still, a lot of that had to do with fucking money, too.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I think that's a very valid point. That being said, though, that will bring us back out of our NyQuil slumber into another potentially extremely fucking fun fight of the evening that is, again, getting kind of slept on here. Maki Pitolo versus Darren the Dentist Stewart. This one has got holy shit fun written all fucking over it. Maki is very, very elusive. He's one of those dudes that's got strange timing and crazy footwork, and he makes every fight fun to watch. And then you've got Darren Stewart, who is essentially a shrinky-dink version of Tyron Woodley. This has got so much fucking fun written all over it. If you take all the best fun parts of young Tyron Woodley and throw the ego against the wall and then add an oddly fitting English accent to it, you get Darren Stewart. And that makes for very entertaining fights unto itself as well. I like Maki. I really do. He's really fun to watch, but I just see him having a real hard time with Darren Stewart here because Darren Stewart can absolutely wrestle his ass off. But he's also one of these ice cream cone-shaped gentlemen who has all the upper body power in the world available for one good night shot, and he throws them very accurately. Maki's pretty elusive, but he's not that elusive. I think it's going to be a fun fight, but I think I see the Dentist taking some teeth home this evening.
There's one good thing about this for Maki. He's coming off a win 2 months ago. Yep. So he's pretty fresh off a win.
Momentum.
Which for him, that's a good thing. However, Stewart has a lot more fucking experience in the UFC. He's had, 8 or 9 fights in the UFC now? Yeah. And I think he's only lost 2 of them in the UFC. One was to Shabazian, who just got his fucking ass whipped.
I do.
I forget who.
That was
the
a
other
weird
one.
fight, though. That
That'd be
Shabazi and
quick.
Stewart fight was weird.
Yeah. But I mean, Stewart, he's looked solid, isn't so far from everything that he's done in the UFC, minus those two little road bumps. I I could honestly see him becoming a ranked fighter at middleweight there without a problem there. Albeit the middleweight division is pretty stacked,
Right.
he very well could make the rankings there. If I'm to pick somebody, I would have to go with Stewart purely on the amount of time under the lights that he's had in the UFC. And that's nothing against Maki. He's just young and wet behind the ears when it comes to being the new guy in the UFC.
I flip my hat around for for a reason. I'm not voting against coconut bombs. I'm not voting against coconut bombs. That dude's he's got some legit power, and with as much as Stewart likes to play a counter game,
Yeah.
that's not the sort of dude you want to counter and try and work into something. You don't want to try and counter someone with the power that coconut bombs is throwing around. So, I'm gonna go with coconut. I'm gonna go with coconut bombs. Maki, give me Maki on this one.
Nice.
I think that Maki's power is just, especially early in that fight. And Stewart, if he gets clocked early in the fight, he can get a little impatient and try and work a little bit more silly game. He hasn't done it in a while, but I think if you get clocked real good with someone like Maki's power, like it changes your game plan.
Yeah, we've seen Stewart have that happen a couple times before, where he gets clipped real good, and then you see him start to get rushed. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that it's been a little bit since he's done it.
Yeah.
So he could have learned his lesson. But if you're getting popped with some power like it's going to be thrown at him, I could see him kind of being like, okay, that what I was doing is not going to work because this dude just hit me that hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going with Maki on this one. It seemed in my brain, it seems kind of like it's just kind of. This seems like the sort of fight that Darren Stewart would get a little bit impatient and try and work something that he shouldn't. So.
I feel like I've said it like 3 times tonight already. With Stewart's experience already in the UFC, and with him, like, he hasn't been in the UFC for a very long time, but he's been in for a few years.
5 years.
I mean, he's made his statement fairly well in the UFC, and Maki on his debut fight looked fantastic, but with the experience and somewhat of a better toolbox, I think Stewart would be able to pull it off. I mean, I can't say anything bad about Maki, because what he has shown is pretty damn good. Especially, I mostly really like his name. That's a funky ass name, Coconut Bombs.
Coconut Bombs is awesome.
That's a weird name.
Yeah, Maki's a lot of fun. So that will bring us into one of the more odd fights, I would say, of the evening, in the co-main event. It's hard to say that anyone was particularly excited about this fight, but it is very interesting. And this is one of those that I was talking about earlier. It's not necessarily real divisionally impactful. This one is one of the ones that I was particularly referencing. This fight is more important because we're going to see how these fighters come out of this. Because the last time we saw Chris Weidman, he was absolutely confident that he was going to be the one to show John Jones all the holes in his game as he moved up to light heavyweight and took over a new division. And then showed us that despite not cutting weight, he still has a fucking glass jaw even in a bigger division. and now has subsequently tucked tail, shut his fucking mouth, and run right back to back down to fucking middleweight rather, where he wasn't doing that good before he decided he was going to try and make the jump up to light heavyweight. And as the UFC tends to do in a situation kind of like this, they're not going to give you an easy fight coming back. This time, they threw Omari Akhmedov at Weidman, who ironically is one of the newer breed of wrestlers very similar to what Weidman used to be in his early days. Because when Chris Weidman first came in and he had that little red, white, and blue tattoo on his shoulder, he was one of those guys that you went, oh, damn, he's just throwing motherfuckers around. Because he didn't give a shit about striking when he first came in. He was going to grab you. He was going to have his way with you, put you where he wanted you, wear the fuck out of you. Then he's going to punch you a little bit, and then he's going to win the fight. That's very much how Omari fights. That's very much Akhmedov's style. He just wants to ragdoll you. He wants to grab you, get hands on you, shake you around like a fucking dog with a toy, and when you're going limp, then he's going to punch you till the ref stops. We haven't seen that Chris Weidman, I would say, in probably 5 years, maybe 6 now, which is legitimately sad because that made Weidman very exciting. It's part of the reason he got his shot at Silva to begin with and then made his legitimate title run. But like I said, we haven't seen that Chris in a while, and that's kind of Omari's bread and butter. So I have a feeling here, despite Weidman saying that he's only 1 or 2 more good fights away from being back in title contention run at middleweight again, he's going to show that the ego doesn't match the jaw. Because even though this might be steel, if this is glass, that math don't add up, Chris. And as much as I like Chris Weidman, and I genuinely do, he is a good human being. It's time for him to hang him up, man. That chin is beyond gone, and I don't want to see a new Chuck Liddell. I think Omari puts him to bed.
I agree 100%. Yeah, Omari's gonna Chimaev him, and it'll probably happen in the first.
Yeah, I don't see this one going to 3 at all.
No, and it's kind of sad to watch Chris Weidman wind up like this, but he's taken too much damage over the years, and it's getting to be that time where, like, if the new guy comes in and crushes you the way that I assume that he's going to crush him.
Yeah, if he Chris Weidman.
Yeah, if he crushes him like a seltzer can,
right.
Like I think it's gonna happen. Chris, you gotta consider hanging it up, man. You gotta consider it. I don't see a lot of. I mean, there's always the puncher's chance, and there's always a chance that 2 wrestlers are gonna decide to duke it out for 3 rounds. But yeah, I just don't see this. I just don't see Chris Weidman coming away from this hole. So especially the fact that Omari's turned into a little bit of a killer.
He's kind of a badass.
Not a little bit of a killer. He's turned into a lot of bit of a killer.
He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder that he earned.
Yeah. So, yeah, Chris Weidman, I love you, man, but dude shouldn't have taken this fight. Not against this dude. Not on this night.
The only thing I can really say here is Chris Weidman should have known after his last 2 KO losses, 1 in this division here, and then 1 at 205. Now you're coming back down. You got to rethink your strategy a little bit here, because I mean, I'll give you this: you're mighty fucking brave. I mean, because it takes a lot of cojones to come in here off of back-to-back knockout losses, 1 at 185 and 1 at 205. But he's been pretty fucking solid, and even his losses he's had have been pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
He's not a fly-by-night guy in fucking middleweight here. You're not gonna just have your way with him. Yes, Chris Weidman is a really good fucking wrestler, We all know he has the USA Wrestling tattooed on the shoulder. We know that. That's not going to save your fucking chin, though. The only way that saves your chin is if you can close the distance without getting hit and secure the takedown. Amari is of that new breed of wrestler, though, where they can put up with that. They know how to stuff the takedowns. And that's a two-way street. But Amari's got better fucking hands than you, Chris Weidman. Look, yes, once upon a time, you looked like you had great hands. But you also looked like you had great hands when there was a guy dancing in front of you with his fucking hands down and you clipped him. And good on you for that.
Absolutely.
Much as I hate to say it, Anderson Silva fucking deserved that. Too much showboating. That's what fucked his career. But anyways, away from that, because yes, he does get credit for stopping him again, albeit from a fucking broken leg, from a checked kick. Smart man, yada yada. He knows what he's doing. But his chin's not going to fucking hold up here. He's going to go out on his shield again, which, look, I get it. You're a fighter. That's what you want to do. But you're going to end up fucking with long-term problems if you keep this shit up. Retire, dude. Not only did you win the middleweight belt at one point, you also defended it, which makes you a permanent champion no matter what in my eyes. It just do your thing, walk away. You offed one of the greatest fighters of all time. Leave that as your legacy. Lay him down. Win, lose, draw. Just lay him down here. But I have to give it to Akhmedov. There's no way Chris Weidman's chin holds up. Now, if it does, color me fucking stupid, because at that point, I'll shit a chicken, a farmer, and a coop to go with it if his chin holds up through this fight. But I think he gets knocked out by the second round.
I love Chris Weidman. I watched his very first fight in 2011, which makes me sound extremely young because you old fuckers in here. I watched his very first fight in the UFC, and I want this weekend to be his very last fight in the UFC based off of what has happened to him in the last few years. Like, if he doesn't put the gloves up this year, like, his life is gonna start looking a whole lot like the Chuck Liddell shit. Saying that, I love Chris Weidman. He was one of my favorite fighters way back in the day, next to like Andrei Arlovsky and BJ Penn. Fucking Weidman was just a fucking killer. But that's an old dying breed of killer. They're fucking straining and they're crumbling very easily. Amari, I think he's gonna put him out, but before the end of the first round.
Very interesting possibility. I think there's a real good chance. I think there's a real good chance that's how it goes down. And I don't want to root against him, but man, Chris is fucking up, realistically. And again, we specialize in armchair quarterbacking, so take that with a fucking grain of salt. But for my fucking 2 cents, the move for Weidman here would be, like you said, win, lose, or draw. Lay the fucking gloves down. Take up a fucking permanent position at the fucking Longo gym as a head wrestling coach.
Yeah.
It's not like Ray Longo and fucking Matt Serra would not give you a fucking coaching position there. You know? And realistically, what fucking young up-and-coming fighter would not benefit from Chris Weidman's first-hand experience in coaching?
Yeah.
But, again, we're armchair quarterbacks. This is kind of what we do. So, we'll see how it fucking plays out. That being said, though, this brings us to the Cyrillic writing on the microwave dinner that actually looks much better than you thought it was going to when you take it out of the packaging. That is our main event of this weekend. The namesake for the card, Lewis versus Olenek. This one, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people are going to flip their hats around on, and I give zero fucks. We are at a point in 2020 where we have access to information 24/7. the vast majority of these people who make their lives public do so unabashedly. The Black Beast is a beautiful example of that. If you so desire, at almost any point during the day, you can find out what Derek Lewis is doing, what Derek Lewis is thinking, and what Derek Lewis is eating. It's not that difficult. On the other side of that card, less forward, I will say, with their regiments, but equally as public with their routine. Alexei Oleinik will show you that at any point in time during the day, where he is training, who he is training with, and what he is training on this particular day. At one point in time, that's the Derek Lewis that we saw. There was a brief glimpse where he got real fucking serious and he got real fucking dedicated, and you could follow that he was getting the fuck into it, and he was getting in shape, and he was getting his techniques down, and he was starting to learn and really adapt and grow. And then the Black Beast came back. And now he's spent the last week bitching about Popeye's chicken and talking shit back and forth with Alistair Overeem, talking about how he wants another title shot, that he's sick of all these boo-boo fighters in the division getting their chances over him. Meanwhile, he is quite literally and blatantly 100% overlooking the legitimately very dangerous dad body constrictor that is staring him in the fucking face, getting ready to step in front of him this Saturday night. We say it all the time, but this is a perfect example of how dumb and dangerous it can be to overlook an opponent. Least of all, a guy as fucking dangerous already as the dad body constrictor. I like Derek Lewis as a person, but we're getting to a point as a fighter that Derek Lewis is just another guy looking for a paycheck and attention without having to put into work to actually do the entertainment that gets you the paycheck and the attention that you receive from it. On the other side, we've got Oleinik, who has very quietly and very politely been destroying every and anyone that they put in front of him, and just nonchalantly climbing his way up the rankings as he chokes one person after another out with relative ease. And it doesn't matter what their name is or what their ranking is. When you step in against the dad body constrictor, he finds a fucking way. And if you do something as dumb as overlooking him, you're giving him an open invitation to fuck you up. And the dad body constrictor's real polite. He doesn't waste invitations like that, especially when they're so nice and inviting like that. He's gonna come in, and I think he chokes the Black Beast the fuck out. I think we see Hot Balls go unconscious on Saturday night. Don't fuck around with the dad body constrictor.
No half flipping on this. Dad body constrictor he's been wrecking people. His last fight against Fabricio. The only reason he didn't tap Fabricio out is because everybody told him that he couldn't throw fists for a decision.
Yep.
And so he decided he was going to throw fists.
He did, yeah.
and came away with a win. The dude, like that was what he said after the fight. They're like, he's like, everybody said I couldn't punch, so I punched. Derek Lewis is going to come out like a house of fire. He's going to wear himself out real quick, and then dad body constrictor is going to choke him the fuck out. I've made the mistake of once again I've made the mistake of not believing in dad body constrictor, and he has proven me wrong. Especially these last two fights, he's looked like a world killer. These last two fights, people will clock him with a massive shot, and then the next thing they know, they're waking up because he choked them the fuck out. And so I really see that going this way. I mean, obviously Derek Lewis has a ton of power, right? A ton of power, and so there is the off chance that he gets him early. If this thing goes anything beyond like a minute and 30, then we're in Dad Buddy Constrictor mode, and he's going to get him. He's going to get him because he works counters so well, and then the next thing you know, he's locked in a choke from somewhere, and you're like, what the hell just happened there?
Where the fuck did that come from? It's too late.
Like, wait a minute, I thought he was just laying on top of him. I didn't see the dude go unconscious. Like, what happened there? And yeah, I have full faith that this is Dad Body's run. This is his run. I think this is that run that he's been looking for the last couple of years. So
this could be the name to do it for damn sure, especially if he puts on a fucking performance against him.
Yep.
Lewis is number 4 right now still.
Yep, Derek Lewis. I wish you well, but I just don't see you taking out. I just don't see you taking out that old Russian. He's so fucking crafty.
He's a crafty old bastard, man. He really
Right?
fucking is.
Yep.
This is tough for me to call for a couple reasons. One, I love the boa constrictor. That old man fucking lull you into a false sense of security, tap you clean the fuck out.
Yep.
On the other hand, Derek Lewis, he's dangerous the entire fucking fight, no matter how tired he is. If you don't believe me, go check out that replay that they've been showing over and over and over of the last second knockout. It's fucking there. The dude has power no matter what. And this is where it gets a little dicey for me. Nobody says Lewis can't win by decision. His last 2 fights, he's won by decision.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he's been on a tear knocking motherfuckers out. His last loss was to DC on short notice for a title, which he said he didn't even want to take because he didn't have time to train for it. Guess what? They backed up a buttload of money, and he says it all the time. I'm not a fan of this sport. This is a paycheck. He's here to make money.
Yep.
That's it. I can't blame the man. And he sells himself very well, which that's probably why I like him so much, because he sells it in a great fucking fashion.
Yes.
From Ask Travis Brown, where Ronda's fine ass is at, to saying my fucking balls is hot. That dude is hilarious, and he markets himself fucking greatly. Now, on the other side of this, look at Alexi. I'm going, that crafty old motherfucker. There's some fights where you thought he was about to get his ass. Oh, he's got the mount on him. No, he gave them the fucking mount.
Yep.
Because he is the only motherfucker in the UFC who has long enough arms and the strength to pull off that fucking choke with somebody in the mount. Now, because we've seen it so many times, every fighter that fights him is trained against it. Guaranteed. Even Derek Lewis, I will say at this point, knows about that.
You'd be dumb not to at this point.
You're not going to get caught up anymore. Because he pulled it off twice in back-to-back fights.
He almost had Maurice Green with it last time, where he ended up abandoning it. But he had Maurice Green in the fucking Ezekiel, and he just couldn't get the grip right, so he let it go. He's tried it 3 fucking times and was successful with 2 of them, almost 3, but successful with 2.
So, and this is where it gets a little dicey for Alexi for me. He's won his last 2 fights. Both of them have been this year. One's the Maurice Green fight, and then the Verdum fight. Both of them via submission. Now, prior to that, he got fucking KO'd by the Reem in the first fucking round. Last time I checked, the Beast hits just as fucking hard as the Reem, if not harder. So there is that very well strong chance that his chin could get tested and he could do some sleeping. I mean, he's been KO'd by Curtis Blades. Who else was he fucking KO'd by? There's a couple times where he's been KO'd.
Walt Harris.
Yeah, Walt
Harris,
yeah.
Walt fucking hot.
Walt fucking laid it out, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the dude's chin does come into question on that, albeit he's fucking long in the tooth for, look at his fucking record. He's got over 70 professional fights.
Yeah, he's 59, 13, and 1.
over 70 professional fights. Think about that. How many fucking fighters in the heavyweight division do you have to add up their congruent records in order to make the 70 fight mark?
Yeah, no shit.
It's a lot of fucking fighters. And you don't get to 70 fights by losing them all. No. He's got one of the better records in all of the heavyweight division. However, I will say from some of the people he's fought, his chin has been tested and it's been shown lacking, which is kind of scary at the heavyweight division, especially when you get up to the Derek Lewis's, fucking the Francis Ngannou's.
Well, nobody has a chin against Francis Ngannou.
Right.
Nobody does.
Hey,
Well,
I guess
Stipe.
I guess you could say Derek Lewis is the only person outside of fucking Stipe that's beat him, albeit one of the worst fucking
Right.
matches of all time. But still, that's where I have a little hard problem saying, does Alexi manage to not get hit? Because Derek Lewis will connect. It's not a matter of will he connect or not. He's going to connect.
Yeah, he's gonna get you.
It's can Alexi take the punch and get Derek Lewis down? Because we all know Derek Lewis's ground game is fucking shit.
And his defense, his fucking takedown defense is shit as well. Which
I
is
don't know, his takedown defense has gotten a lot better.
better, yeah, absolutely. But
Look, I get it. Alexi, though, he's not a wrestler. He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, so he uses jiu-jitsu takedowns.
Right.
Completely different than wrestling.
Right.
So, I mean, can he get Derek Lewis down? Yeah, I'm sure he can, but Derek Lewis, he's going to make you pay coming in trying to get that takedown, and I don't know if Alexi can take it or not. I'm hard-pressed to say that he can't, but I'm hard-pressed to say that he can take it. Because, I mean, we've seen him take shots on the way in before, but I don't think we've ever seen anybody hit him as hard on the way in outside of, like, the couple of knockout losses that he's had. But those weren't always shots that he was coming in to take takedown attempts on. Sometimes those dudes were just fucking doing their normal thing.
yeah.
And that's what Derek Lewis does. He doesn't come out there to fight. He comes out there to put people away. And that way he can go home, sleep with his wife, throw his shorts over his fucking shoulder. I'm hard pressed to pick against Alexi. However, I am going to do so. I'm going to say his chin does not hold on the way in for that shot, and I'm saying he's going to sleep.
Interesting.
And against the dad body.
I don't want to, but I have this strong feeling. I have this strong feeling because, for me, this is a no-win fight for me. I like both of them as fighters and both of them as human beings.
Right.
They're both fucking great individuals, so it's a tough fight to call. But if I have to pick one, I have to go knockout power on this one because you have to come in and get into range before you can get a takedown. And your feints that he has, they're not going to fucking affect Lewis enough to be able to throw a takedown in there with him. So I just have a feeling it's going to be a knockout for Lewis.
Interesting.
This was the hardest fucking thing to try and think of a fucking W. So my thought process is kind of how Fresh went about it. If Olenek can gas out, like bad gas out Lewis, if he can just fucking gas him out and play the distance and just keep him at a distance and just throw just pressure shots, just keeping a little bit of pressure on him, just wear him the fuck out. If he can get him to the ground, I think it'd be an Olenek W on that. But that's only if he can fucking stay from getting that one knockout, that one shot knockout power that everybody knows that Derek Lewis has. If he can do that, which there is a chance that he can, everybody has a chance. if he can keep that from happening from a good fucking hook connecting with his face, I think he has a possibility of just running him around the octagon and just taking him to the ground. But if it's first round and he's already getting some heavy shots, Olenek is going to sleep. There's no way that he's going to be able to take that sort of abuse from Derek Lewis if he couldn't take the abuse from Alistair Overeem. If you couldn't take that from Overeem, you're not going to be able to take shots from Derek Lewis. There's just no way.
I mean,
It's going to be fucking fun though.
you're also assuming that Derek Lewis can throw the volume and the accuracy that Overeem. And that's a different ballgame. Because while Derek Lewis can hit you hard once, Overeem can hit you hard all fight long.
All you need is once.
We will see. We will see.
because if he can get if he can get that one hook in, that one shot to stagger him, he's gonna be on top of him. He's gonna be a fucking monster on top of him, just beating his fucking face in.
There's a possibility. I'm not saying there's not a possibility, but I don't know if that's exactly where you want to be with a dad body constrictor. It's proven to be a fatal mistake for almost three other guys before.
Yeah.
There's a few guys on that resume.
Yeah, there's a few folks who have learned that lesson the hard way. But that being said, that is all we have for this fine evening. So before we get out of here, I do want to go around and thank these fine folks for taking time out of their day to come take part in the shenanigans and talk some shit. So at this point, if somebody wants to learn more about that Rain Man Joe Rogan getup that you're doing, new guy, how are they going to get a hold of you?
You can find me over there on Instagram at RJMMA Official. Hit me up, come talk some shit. Yeah. Great being here tonight. Really excited because for not being a big card, this has some really good potential fights.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Much appreciated. So, at this point, I know we have the vast majority of West Lynn covered, but we can always use extra volunteers in the hunt for SUG Island. So at this point, if somebody's ready to put on their yellow reflective vest and join the brigade, how would they sign up for the hunt, Fresh 03?
My dad lets me practice jujitsu in the driveway on Mondays.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm just kidding, RJ. I love RJ. RJ's a good dude. Yeah. So Sug Island. Right now we're actually going to ditch. We're going to ditch the reflector vest. We think that may be what's tipping off Uncle Chael. So we're going to camo. We've hit the Army Navy store, and so we've got some camo for everybody. And we're gonna go through the woods. We do have tranquilizer guns. We're hoping for no incidents this weekend when we're out looking. We do still have our pit traps and our bird traps out, giant bird traps, trying to lure in Uncle Chael. Putting some Michelob lights out, possibly from back in sponsorship days. Maybe that'll lure him in. But I really don't know. At this point what else we can do. We're aware of the general location. We're pretty sure that he's out there, but he's elusive. He's an elusive man, as he's shown throughout his career. So we will get you though, Uncle Chael. We will get you. Camo, tranquilizer guns, pit traps, bird traps. It's all coming together.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I know we shouldn't have to tell him, especially since he's got another fight coming up. But if by now somebody just is completely oblivious to the best way to find out about the Kenosha man himself and some good old fried cheese curds, how can somebody find out more information after the show, Mr. Goffey?
Wednesday nights here. Whatever you do, don't go asking Hot Rod over there because that young buck ain't gonna know. 9:30 Central Time on my channel here on YouTube. You can also find me on the Instagram. Shoot me a message. Glad to talk shit with you.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for your time. Always appreciate it, sir. So with that being said, folks, we're going to call it all for an evening. So if you enjoyed what we do here, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. If we brought you some nice facts that you just weren't aware of otherwise, subscribe. We do this every week, at least once or twice a week. If we gave you an epiphany, light bulb going off over your fucking head moment, share an episode of the show for us. We're trying to grow this damn thing. On the other side of that, if we're just a couple of dipshits with some fucking random underage kid talking about MMA on the internet for no fucking reason, give us a thumbs down. We earned it, and we won't dispute it. But that being said, we are going to call it all for this evening. So remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Wash your hands, folks. We'll make it through this together. You just gotta...
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.